Got another thought video that I wanted to do. I've actually got several of these that I've been putting off for a long time because I don't really know how to say them, and I tend to ramble a lot, and I'm not a psychologist, so thought videos sometimes are a little bit outside my realm. I'm also not very, I try to keep the channel from being political. I think it's no secret that that me, myself, not everybody on the channel that you see in the videos is necessarily religious. We're all pretty libertarian, and we're all fairly conservative. Pretty conservative. We're not necessarily all Christian, but I am, and so I don't talk about that stuff a lot. Sometimes there's hints in the videos about it, but I don't talk about it a lot because it's not what the channel's all about. And I'm not going to get political this time either, but just this is a warning that I might in the future get a little bit political. But no, I was talking to some folks at work, some coworkers, and it was kind of funny because one of them thought he forgot something that he had agreed to do with his wife, and we just had a funny conversation about it. And he's like, "Have you ever forgotten stuff that you agreed to do with your wife, and then you're in the doghouse because you don't care about what she wanted to do, and you agreed to it, but you don't care, and so you forgot and all that kind of stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, it happens all the time." And and he made the comment that it's not that he doesn't care, it's just that he forgot or whatever. And I said, well, I think in my case at least, it's because I don't care. And I'm not going to lie about that. I care less than I care about the thing. Obviously, if I forget about something, it's because I cared less than something that I didn't forget about. And that's human nature, I don't have a great memory on a lot of stuff, and I only really remember the things that I care about. So if I agree to do something, I kind of rely on my wife to remind me, and if she agrees to do something that she doesn't care about, I tend to try to remind her of it. Getting dirt on you, buddy. So I was just being realistic about it, and one of the other people there was like, "Well, don't tell your wife that." And I said, "Yeah, she knows. Like she's a smart lady. She understands that if I forget about something, it's because typically speaking, it's because I didn't care about it enough to remember it." And I want to be honest about that, and I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice and a disservice to our relationships if we're not honest about that. And so that got me thinking about this, and maybe this isn't great relationship advice, I don't know, but I feel like it is because I've made mistakes of not being honest in the past and setting bad precedents, and this got me to thinking my wife and I have a pretty good system. It's not that we don't get mad at each other, and it's not that we don't have our problems, but we got a pretty good system where we sort of know each other, and we know how the kinds of things that we both like, and that we both tendencies, just stuff, being married for several years, for we're going on 17 years, I guess. You tend to get to know somebody, and we don't even talk that much, but we're pretty honest with each other, I think, the past decade. and so it works pretty well. So my theory is, and kind of what I'm talking about is, don't set a bad precedent by pretending you like something that you don't, because then they're just going to expect you to like it, and you're going to start resenting it. So one of the examples, when we were first dating, I pretended I liked a lot of stuff that I didn't like, and she pretended to like a lot of stuff that she didn't like. I hope I said that right. So like when we were pretty early dating, I got a new gun and I wanted to go shoot it, and so I invited her to go shooting with me, and she agreed, and she acted all super energetic about it. We went out. She did really good. She shot my .22. She did really well, I should say. Not good, but she did really well, and I was really impressed with her shooting skills. And I asked her if she'd shot, and she said no. And she went out a couple more times with this shooting, and she shot a little bit, and she pretended she liked it and all that kind of stuff. A couple of years after we were married, I asked her if she wanted to go shooting with me sometime, and I was thinking of like a date that didn't involve dinner and a movie, because that's what we always seem to do. And I said, would you like to go to dinner sometime, or maybe get some Kentucky Fried Chicken? She loves fried chicken. Get some Kentucky Fried Chicken and go have a picnic and do a little shooting. And she said, "What makes you think I'd want to go shooting with you?" And it really was like it cut me pretty deep, because I was under the impression that she enjoyed shooting and that she was willing to go shooting with me, to be with me or whatever, and she didn't. She didn't want to have anything to do with it, and it hurt. I got over it after a few years. It took me a while to kind of realize that it wasn't personal. She just didn't want to go shooting, and she had set a bad precedent for me. So on the other side, when we were first dating, I liked being around her. We hung out a lot, as people tend to do when they're dating. And she invited me over to watch TV one evening, and it was a Wednesday night. And I didn't realize it, but her tradition, or her the thing that she did on Wednesday nights, was watch 2 hours of the worst TV ever created. There was an hour. It was Dawson's Creek and Felicity. Those are two shows that I absolutely cannot stand. One, like, not even one bit. And I agreed to go sit down and watch them with her because I just wanted to be with her, and I thought that she wanted. I thought she was just wanting to hang out and talk and stuff. So we start watching these terrible shows, and I started like talking to her, and it became very clear very soon that she did not want to have a conversation at all. She was focusing on the show. I wound up counting holes in her ceiling, or not holes, but like she had popcorn ceiling. I think it was popcorn ceiling. Anyway, I was counting either holes in the ceiling, because it was that like foam insulated type, or those tiles, or I was counting the bumps on the ceiling. And I remember spending like 4 weeks every night just like counting stuff on the ceiling and looking at the walls. And I wasn't doing a very good job of making it look like I wanted to be there, because I didn't. And it set a really bad precedent, because then suddenly, I didn't say anything about how terrible I thought it was. And then after a while, it had happened so often that it was kind of like when I said, I don't really want to come over. I think maybe you should just watch TV on your own. It wasn't very cool. She took it personally then, because I set a bad precedent. So what I've developed over the years was this idea of like, let's just be honest. We don't have to be harsh. And not only that, but sometimes when you don't want to do something but you do it anyway, it means more than if you don't want to do it, but you pretend like you want to do it, because then you're just doing something you want to do. So why sell ourselves short? And I think one of the problems is that modern man in America, especially in Western culture, is so afraid of offending a woman or making her mad, or we don't want them to be mad at us. And that's the way I was. I didn't want her to be mad at me, and I didn't want her to get her feelings hurt, so I just kind of pretended stuff sometimes. And the truth is that we're not doing them any favors, we're not doing us any favors. And I'm talking from the perspective of the man or the woman. It doesn't matter which side it is. But modern men especially, they should buck up and just be honest when they don't want to do something. And again, don't be mean about it. But maybe I should have, in hindsight, asked her what shows she was watching. And when she said Dawson's Creek and Felicity, say, that's your thing. I'd rather not do it. Let me hang out with my friends on Wednesday nights. That can be my night to hang out with my friends. All the other nights of the week I can hang out with you for a bit. Help you study for exams, go out to eat, watch movies, whatever we want to do. Or I could have said, no, I don't really want to do that, but I'll tell you what, like once a month I'll hang out with you and watch those shows with you, and then it means more. So my whole point here is that instead of pretending we like things we don't, and don't swing the pendulum all the way the other way where you're being mean and saying like, that's stupid, I would never do that, that's horrible, or I don't want to do that and I don't want to ever do it. Instead of doing that, maybe we should be in the middle, and say, yeah, I don't really want to do that, that's not my thing. Why don't you go do it with your friend, or hey, get down, go do it with your friend, or spend some time with your friend doing things that you guys like together, and I'll catch up with you later. Or, hey, I don't like that, but I'll tell you what, because I like you, I'll do it. So this could be going to chick flicks, going to the ballet, going dancing, any number of things that guys typically don't like that girls sometimes do. It could be any number of those things. And for girls, you don't have to like shooting, you don't have to like golf, but it wouldn't be bad to go every once in a while. Just, either gender, whatever you do, don't take over the hobby. Like, don't make it so that it has to be y'all's thing. Don't be mean about it, and don't pretend you like it. It's literally a great opportunity for couples to understand more about each other, and for couples to realize that they don't have to do everything together. They have different things that they like, they have different things that they enjoy, and they are both committed enough to each other that they can do some things that they don't really like, just to be with the other person and to get to know them better. And that's it. Like, but we got to be honest about it, and I'm kind of Me personally, I grew tired a long time ago of pretending I liked things that I didn't like, so I stopped. And it took some getting used to, and my wife actually stopped before I did, and it hurt my feelings a little bit at first, and then I realized that I'm just being a wimp, and she's being honest, and that's a good thing. And so we still have things that we can do together and things that we enjoy. Excuse me, and all that. It's not a bad thing. It's actually been a really good thing for a relationship, and I think it'd be a good thing for a lot of people's relationships. So, the same thing can be said for like buying stuff. You don't have to like the things that your partner enjoys or wants to buy, but every once in a while, understand that they work hard at the relationship too, and they deserve it. That's a good example to close on. Buying flowers. I had told my wife when we were dating that I would never get her flowers because it's a useless waste of money. And then one day I realized that I was being stupid, and sometimes, even though it doesn't make sense to me, and even though I think that it is a waste of money, sometimes it's not about the flowers, it's not about the thing, it's about what you're trying to say to the person. And that's really what matters. So when I realized that, things got a lot simpler. And that's another kind of example of I don't have to like it, I don't have to understand it, and I don't even have to do it all the time. I don't have to pretend that any of those things is true or untrue. All I have to do is acknowledge that sometimes it's the right thing to do or it's the best move, and then that means all that more from the person receiving it because they understand that you don't really love doing it, but you're doing it for them. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that. That's kind of mushy for my channel. That's kind of it's definitely not the style of video that is normally on this channel, but hopefully it helps somebody. And that's my goal, I guess, is to help people in general, whatever type of advice or video it is. So take it or leave it, but that's my advice. Take care.